It's time now for the KC Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's KC Ingram.
The KC Ingram Show is sponsored in part by Meridian Marina and Yacht Club in Palm City. Meridian Marina and Yacht Club is located on the banks of the St. Lucie River in Palm City and is the premier marina in Martin County, focusing on excellent customer service so you can enjoy your boating lifestyle. Meridian Marina offers concierge services, yacht club amenities, sales, and service surrounded in a lush tropical setting. Meridian Marina is the largest marina in Martin County on 11 3/4 acres with a 62,000 square foot indoor storage facility that accommodates up to 300 boats. Meridian Marina is not just a place to store your boat. When you become a member of Meridian Marina and Yacht Club, you can enjoy events such as trips to the Bahamas, snorkeling adventures, marina parties, and more. Check out their events tab at meridianmarina.com. Also, try out their great service department that is open 5 days a week from 8 to 4. Call them up at 772-221-8198, 221-8198, or visit them online at meridianmarina.com for more details. At Meridian Marina, we do all the work so you can enjoy your boating lifestyle. So this evening is, of course, the primary election evening. We have spoken with all the candidates here locally over the past 2-3 months, and please be sure to get out and vote.
Seems like all year.
It does seem like all year. They tend to run together.
Yeah.
But the polls will close at 7 p.m. tonight. And folks, it's really important to get out and vote because even though this is just the primary, county commission race, city commission race, judges race, there's a tax for the schools. All of these things in the incorporation of Hope Sound, all of these things will be decided tonight. They're not in the general election. So be sure to go out and vote. Before I came in, I looked, we had 35,000 of our 113,000 have voted. So need a lot more people to come on out. And then we're going to have some more live coverage. And I'm going to have Iggy from Impactful Media joining me up in Fort Pierce studio with WPSL and WSTU. We're going to have Barry Grant, Mike Thomas, Carol, and Greg Wyatt. A whole bunch of us going to be covering election night, and that starts at 7 p.m. So be sure to tune back in at 7. But tonight we're going to talk about something that I think it's important our politicians all are very aware of. We don't have a candidate in here, but it's about opioid abuse and one man's his mission. Thank you. I was looking for that word. His mission to save lives from the opioid epidemic through the use of Narcan, which you've funded yourself in a great deal. So, Luis Garcia, you joining me in the studio tonight, and we're going to meet your friend here, Sarah, as well here in a little bit. But tell me a little bit about yourself. Why did you start this up? This is money out of your own pocket.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us here, Miss Ingram. I'm a retired 28-year firefighter. I retired about 7 years ago. In my career, I figured I've been to about 3,000 overdoses.
Wow.
Personally, I've never been impacted, never tried drugs, never even been intoxicated. Nobody in my family's been affected by the disease. I don't work in this field. There's nothing in it for me other than I realized in my fire rescue career that Narcan was probably the most powerful drug we had. It's the one drug that has no side effect, no contraindication, no restriction, and is life-altering for people who are in cardiac arrest of all the medications we give as fire rescue guys. So when I started hearing about 2 or 3 years ago that the FDA had approved an over-the-counter nasal spray, I really looked into it and realized that lives could be saved. I went out and bought a couple on eBay, and I personally have administered Narcan 12 times in Southeast Florida, and 11 of those 12 people have lived.
Wow.
The only person who didn't live was dead. He had rigor mortis. So anyway, I reached out to DCF about a year ago, was not able to get funding for a formal program. And I said, wow, what do I do? At the time, my girlfriend and I were talking. I was saving up to buy an SUV, and I went out and bought 800 dosages of nasal spray.
800 dosages.
Here I am. I figured we could save 800 to 1,000 lives.
And how many have you saved to date that you know of?
77 is the latest number, and that's only with having given out 550 in about a year.
Now, Louis, tell us, you really dug into your personal funds on this, right? I mean, tell us a little bit about that, because this is incredible for one man to take on this mission and use your own funds for something that you saw as a firefighter was useful. But like you said, your personal family, you were not impacted.
Well, I realized when I went out, bought it on eBay and actually administered it, And the reason I show up, people wonder, what's this guy doing showing up? I work for a restoration company, 911 Restoration, national restoration company. They've been fully supportive. They allow me to take time off, go around the state. The corporate office in LA supports us. I'm grateful for 911 Restoration supporting me. As part of our job, I lead a team of retired firefighters, and we have scanner radios. We listen to 911 calls, which you can legally do in Florida on a fire scanner radio.
Okay.
And we show up trying to solicit property owners for restoration work. So we're hearing all the 911 calls, and we'd be driving by a cardiac arrest. We went on about AEDs on our own. Then we heard the Narcan overdoses skyrocketing in the last 5 or 6 years. And then when we heard this with FDA approved 2.5 years ago, could this work? And I've seen it work. I'm a true believer. And to me, it's a no-brainer. It's, okay, I could have a nice SUV, or other people could be living. That's it. It's that simple. The biggest challenge I found going around doing my Narcan events is people trying to wrap their head around why I would do that. Just because. You're either a good human being or you're not. You're either walking the walk, no matter what your political or religious belief system, or you're not. We can sit here all day and profess to be something, but if we're not truly showing love for fellow man, we're not good human beings.
And we're here to talk a little bit about the opioid epidemic. And I want to bring your friend Sarah into the conversation now, because this is an epidemic that affects everybody and anybody. And Sarah was kind enough to bring in this photo, and Iggy, I hope you can get a shot of this. This is her son, Maxwell. And obviously a bright and upcoming young man. And Sarah, tell us a little bit about Maxwell and what brought you in to Lewis's team here.
Maxwell died of an overdose on the 1st of November in 2016. He had just turned 19 years old. He was at home, and we knew that he had an addiction problem, and we had been fighting it for the last couple of years. I'm here to tell you that it can happen to anybody. It's not the person that's peddling for money on the street. It's not the disheveled homeless person, or you say, oh, that they're just an addict, they're a junkie. It can be your child in the room next to you, and we didn't even know. I'm a nurse. My husband's a physician. My son went to a private prep school all of his life. He played on 2 football teams. He played in the orchestra. He was an honors roll student all of his life. The kids that he went to school with have all gone on to, first tier and second tier colleges. And he happened to struggle with the disease of addiction. And that's where we need to understand that it's a disease of the mind. It can happen to anybody. And it can happen to your kid. It can happen to your niece, to your nephew, to your husband. And you don't even know that it's happening. And the support from the community is what we need to really get out there. We need to break the stigma and know that this could be your child, that this could happen to.
It truly isn't. From one mother to another mother. My deepest condolences. I can't imagine anything worse to have to deal with. And I appreciate you coming on tonight to share your story and share Maxwell's, because I hope it does save more lives, and I'm sure it will.
Thank you.
While you're here tonight, I had Melissa McKinley in here. She's a Palm Beach County Commissioner, and a very dear friend of her had very similar story. And that's what's so heartbreaking and heart-wrenching about this. So, Lewis, for you to start up this campaign to try and reach everybody that needs Narcan, that they're going to be able to have that ability, thank you. You're a true hero in the community. You're doing a lot of events to help raise awareness and to also spread Narcan. So tell us a little bit about some of these events coming up. How can people get involved? And also,
great.
And you know what? I apologize, but we had a caller waiting online. Are they still waiting? Let's go ahead and take that call before you answer that.
Go ahead.
Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Hi, you're on the KC Ingram Show. Do we still have you?
How are you?
Good. How are
Yeah.
you doing? How are you doing this evening? What is your name?
I'm well. My name is Rachel.
Hi, Rachel. We're talking about Narcan and the opioid epidemic here this evening.
Yes.
Do you have a comment?
Narcan is saving lives. I'm very active in the recovery community. I am a recovering addict myself. I got in a car accident 12 years ago. I was hit by a drunk driver on my way to college. My story isn't unique. You go to pain management. They overprescribed opioid narcotics, and I became addicted. And my whole life life fell down on my head. So I personally have not been saved by Narcan, but I know many people who have, and I'm really excited that they're doing these Narcan giveaways and they're bringing awareness to all these people who don't know. And it truly can happen to anyone. I was a nurse. I had a great job, good family. Like, addiction did not run in my family. It wasn't something I'd ever been exposed to. And then one day you wake up and there you are.
Life circumstances certainly can change anybody's life in an instant, and getting in an accident or having something where you need painkillers is that impetus that can change the future.
Is this Rachel from Pasco County?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wonderful.
Hi.
She's very humble. She was a trauma nurse, incredible story. And her facility there, Calvary Chapel, is hosting one of our largest giveaways in the state. We're expecting about 100 people in Newport Richey in a few weeks.
Very good. How can people sign up for that if they want to join?
Thank you. The most important thing, thank you for calling in, Rachel, is
Thank
that
you.
people go to our Facebook page, South Florida Opioid Crisis Mortality Reduction Project. They click on the events tab, and we have about 20 events over the next 5 or 6 months, as long as we have Narcan. Sarah had been amazingly indispensable, along with another lady, Sherry Albin, a realtor in Boca, who's helped us. Cecilia Luayu, a pharmacist on the West Coast, who helped me give CEs to pharmacists. So to answer your question, I need everybody to please go to the page, South Florida Opioid Crisis Mortality Reduction. And I think they'll be surprised. We have events covering about 7 counties and 20 classes over the next 5-6 months.
That's incredible. How big is your team? You just mentioned Sherry and Sarah.
I think Sarah here, through her pain, has really made a difference. She came on board 9 months ago, and we were alone for many months. In the last 4 or 5 months, I've had several amazing, I call them angels. Mostly they're women, and they've either been impacted or they work in the healthcare field, or they're very religious or politically involved. They just want to help. So to answer your question, there's probably about 5 or 6 people, myself and 5 ladies, who do this. And typically when I go to a local area like Calvary Chapel, I find people like Stephanie, a nurse. I couldn't believe her story, a trauma nurse, ER nurse. And she became addicted, and now she's in recovery, and she leads their recovery fellowship at Calvary. So typically locally, I pair up with local public safety, healthcare professionals, nonprofits, and whoever I can get to help me. It takes a lot of work to put on these events.
I'm certain it does. And just getting the information out, marketing out to have the people know that there is an event is probably working itself. Thank you so much for calling in this evening. Louis,
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Thank you. Louis, how do you recognize opioid ODs? What's some signs that people can look for that they know that's going on?
Great question. My classes last 2 hours, and I stress to everybody, yes, you can go around the state and get Narcan given through a giveaway program in 10, 15 minutes. I really go into detail. We also cover CPR-AD. We cover the legality. We cover so much. I'm saying all this because the reality is this. Anywhere in the USA, not just in Florida, if you find anybody collapsed who is under the age of 60 or 65, you have probably a 70% chance that there is an opioid overdose.
Wow.
So what I teach is very simple. Anybody who looks like they're under 60, 65, who appears to be dead, may very well have an opioid overdose. You're going to give them Narcan if you have it available. Simple. No pulse, no breathing. They will be blue, gray, or purple. They'll be unresponsive. They won't respond when you shout their name or rub their chest. We don't have to make it very complicated. Don't worry about a pulse check. If they don't wake up, they are probably in respiratory cardiac arrest, possibly due to an opioid, and you give them Narcan. There's no way you're going to hurt them, and you will probably save their life if it is an opioid overdose.
So try it no matter what.
Exactly. And this, simply put, if they're blue, gray, or purple and appear to be unresponsive, call 911 immediately. Start CPR if you know it, and immediately grab your Narcan, just like a defibrillator.
And again, anybody can carry Narcan.
Correct. In 49 states. Maine is the only state that still has restrictions.
Oh, that's a shame. Hopefully that'll change here after the elections.
We've got Roland on the line.
Hi, Roland. How are you doing this evening?
Good afternoon, Casey. How are you?
Good. Thank you. You are on the air.
Yeah, I'm actually calling to support Lewis's project. I'm very excited about what he's doing. I think that it is an endeavor that hopefully some of our local chapters will be able to pick up and implement. Just bear on the economics alone, it just makes business sense. On the humanitarian side, it far exceeds, why we should be involved with something like this, especially with the low cost of Narcan itself. And I'm calling I'm a criminal investigator with Martin County Public Defender's Office. I'm at the jail down the street from you, I believe, about 3-4 days a week. And
yes,
I will tell you that the majority of the defendants that I'm dealing with right now, the vast majority, I'd say cocaine and crack are so 80s, if to say, compared to our opioid crisis and our heroin crisis. And the issues that, our generation is dealing with. And I see it firsthand in the jail, why people are being incarcerated, but more so why a lot of people are ending up in the morgue, if not in jail. And knowing that there's such there's a program and there's a solution that can save somebody's life immediately is something that I feel that we should implement as soon as possible. And I'm excited. I actually put the word out with fellow criminal investigators about 2 hours ago at Damalitti's office, and not a 30 of us. Everybody was trying to rework their schedule to see how we could get to Lewis's training out in Melbourne on Thursday. That's how much we need this.
That's fabulous. Roland, in Martin County here, how often are you seeing these opioid overdoses?
Well, I don't deal with the overdoses myself because I'm on the criminal side. I'm in jails dealing with defendants who have the opioid issues. But, I'll bring it home with some local statistics. And I know that in 2016, Sheriff Snyder came out and said that we've had reduction because of the mass amount of efforts on behalf of law enforcement to go after the drug dealers. And we had a little bit of a drop, but Martin County and Palm Beach in 2015 and 16. In 16, Palm Beach had over 880 cases of overdoses on opioids themselves, and we weren't too far behind, being a much smaller county with much less people. But even though it's improved, it's still a necessary evil to bring Narcan into the picture, especially, like I said, working in the jail and seeing just how many people I'm dealing with on a daily basis. Heroin is something that we used to think about on the West Coast less than 10 years ago, and nowadays it's in your face. It's here. It's here to stay.
And they say the opioid abuse is really a gateway to heroin use.
Yeah, well, and actually, right now, the stricter we get on the opioids, we're hoping that the heroin issue doesn't become more prevalent. But opioids by far exceed heroin at this moment. It's just it's a massive, massive issue. I mean, oxymorphone, oxycodone, all these. I sound like when I'm writing down my information on my defendants, I feel more like a pharmacist, and I'm constantly learning all these new pills that are coming out, and it's staggering. And like you said, I mean, a lot of my defendants can be local business owners, can be
anybody
that you deal with. I mean, absolutely anybody that you deal with, and you would never see it coming. So they're not just people that seem, as your first caller said, disheveled and homeless. It's not like that anymore. It's hard to identify somebody by the outward appearance if they're on opioids or not. And by the time you do get to them, it's typically too late because they're under Lewis, getting a shot of Narcan in the chest, or wherever it is that he's got to administer it, or they're dealing with, with us, regarding their legal issues because of what's happening,
Right.
And, I actually just spoke to Nikki Norton earlier this morning.
Yes.
I'll be meeting with her in a couple of hours. Yeah, Nikki said hello, by the way.
and hello to Nikki. It's a big election day up here today. And I was just saying to Lewis, our elected officials are so important that they take note of what's going on here with the opioid epidemic. And we need legislative help as well. And how nice would it be to have funding for more Narcan?
I've got to
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Lewis.
You mentioned Mayor McKinley in Palm Beach. I've
Yes.
got to give her a big shout out. When I
Melissa
travel
McKinley.
anywhere around the state, they hear about Palm Beach Mayor McKinley. She's spearheading the level at a government level.
She is. She's a very good example for that. But today's very important to keep getting that word out. We need more like Melissa and Nikki to be out there and letting people know this is a true epidemic that's through all of our communities. Generally, where's a good place to have Narcan? I mean, would you say like a convenience stores or something, or is it anywhere?
Great question. There's a misconception that most overdose deaths are occurring in sober homes or addiction facilities. They are not. People are shocked when we teach our class and we tell them the 6 top places, at least in Florida, based on what we're hearing on scanners, are McDonald's, KFC, Walmart, Publix, gas station, and Burger King, the places where most people frequent. People are dying in cars and restrooms. That's where they're dying. So everywhere.
Yeah, Casey.
Yes.
And to add to this, although, Lewis is obviously, retired firefighter, and I'm involved with the court system, but more importantly, I think he wants to drive the message home just as much as I do. Whoever's listening, this is not for people that are first responders in the medical field. This is for absolutely everybody. There's no reason. At this point right now, there's no reason that every last civilian who's ready and willing to save somebody's life. As you said, I could be pumping gas at a gas station. I see people there all the time. You could be coming out of a nightclub. You could be at a hotel, extending your stay, and people in hotels are dying every day. And you could be just happen to be in the room next to them, figure out that this person is having an overdose, and first responders are going to take time to get there. They got to run through red lights, and you might not have that red light in front of you, but if you got Narcan and you've been trained by somebody such as Lewis, you might find yourself saving somebody's life. And civilians are, for the most part, always around before first responders and law enforcement officers, because they're right there.
Right.
In real time, they're usually right around there in that area.
Lewis, you've got a Narcan sitting right in front of you.
do.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. This is what Sarah and I and my assistants give out at our events. It's very simple. This is the nasal spray. You just insert in their nose, depress, it clicks in 2 or 3 seconds, you're done. You've just administered high dose, 4 milligram nasal Narcan, FDA approved. There's a 91% conversion rate with one nasal spray if you reach somebody within 8 minutes of their cessation of breathing. Time is of the essence. So real quick, no harm. Nothing will happen if they didn't need it. And most importantly, there are misconceptions out there that it won't work on fentanyl. It does. The biggest thing people have to realize, this is what fire rescue gives. The fire rescue medic, used to give these ampules. There's only 2 milligrams.
Okay.
We're legally allowed to give 4 milligrams. You're giving 2 of these.
Okay.
The auto injectors that people may have encountered, if they've had these, 10 of them equals 1 nasal spray.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is what's saving lives. 1 nasal spray. That's all it takes.
And how much does it cost?
At CVS or Walgreens, it's $167 if you have to buy a box of 2. They come in a box of 2. Also,
$1.67 for 2.
$167 for a box of 2 sprays. So
okay.
$83 of the
Got
spray.
it. Okay.
I got them for $50 roughly wholesale. But what I want to tell everybody is, as Investigator Demare said, everybody should carry it. Your insurance will cover it. You just go pay your copay. You don't need to have a current addiction problem or be on opioids. They will give it to you. Every insurance plan.
What else can people do to help you? Do you have a funding set up? Are you a 501c3?
No, thank you very much. We have a GoFundMe at South Florida Opioid Crisis Life Saving. We've got about 1,100. Sarah has generously donated. So have other people, and we're on a shoestring budget. And I have about 300 more Narcan, and we'll be done after that unless I win the lottery or we have a benevolent financial backing.
Now, Roland's going to be attending one of your events. If somebody wants to have an event locally, how do they proceed to contact you, and can that be done?
All they have to do is call me at 954-859-4696. This is all on our Facebook page, 954-859-4696, or reach out. Sarah's one of the administrators on the Facebook page, South Florida Opioid Crisis Mortality Reduction Project. She'll reach out if I'm not available, and we'll set it up. We haven't said no. We've helped everybody. We've gone to Liberty City, and we've given out Narcan. We're going all over the state.
Real quick, Roland, go ahead.
Yeah, Lewis, by the way, so Tommy Gunn's Tactical Training Facility, it's in the industrial park at the B&A Flea Market. I'm sure you know where that is, Kate.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
We'll work with them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, I hope you do, because I'm an NRA instructor and a tactical instructor when I'm not at the jailhouse, and that's my facility. So I would like to right now extend it to you at your service so you can get this together, and I'll do my part. Whatever it takes, public service announcements. I'm there to help you, Lewis.
We'll set up something. Thank you.
Roland, thank you. That's huge. Thank you.
And this is for you and the radio station to have in case of an emergency.
You got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Remember the face of opioid epidemic. This is just one of them. So please reach out to Lewis Garcia. Sarah, thank you for being here and sharing your story.
Thank you.
And folks, tonight, make sure you get out and vote. The polls do close at 7, and we're starting election coverage right here on WSTU and Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Sarah.